Now we worked on a couple of punches. Let's take a look at a couple of kicks. Don't get a complex repertoire of kicks, punches, spinning, back fists, all that kind of stuff. Unless you're going to be training 10 hours a week as a kickboxer, you're not going to be able to use these things in a real street fight. I'm teaching you fundamentals here of fighting. Now what you need to understand is fights happen so explosively that you don't have time to do anything fancy. When you kick somebody, you've already been taught in your subject control system, whatever it is, about the common peroneal, the femoral, and the tibial nerve. Now, these 3 points create a lot of pain. Unfortunately, most of us have tried that kick sometime or another on a really interesting subject, and they don't even blink. So we've got to learn how to apply kicks that are going to be effective. We're not just waiting for the pressure point to take effect. We've got to have some momentum in the kick that will cause some kind of dysfunction in the skeletal and muscular structure if we're going to survive a real fight. In a corrections situation, a knee strike to the common peroneal is going to get the guy off balance, get his attention, get him under control. Out on the county road, like we have to deal with in Jefferson County, Nebraska, backup may be 20 minutes away, and this fight is not going to be with a referee and some rules. You don't have time to think up all kinds of fancy stuff. You have got to have basic maneuvers that work every time. Now, kicks are a matter of using your hips before you use your leg. When you get your hip pointed in the direction of the kick, your leg can't do anything but go the direction you've pointed your hip. If my hip is pointing this way and I'm trying to kick this guy over here, I've got no power. So the first thing in a kick is to learn to point your hip in the direction that kick is going to go. If you bring the kick straight out, your hip determines what direction your leg's going to go. If you're going to come around, your hip is going to determine where that leg goes. So whether I'm doing a round kick where I externally rotate the hip and elevate the knee, the hip is what determines where that kick's going to go. First thing to think about then with the kick is not the leg, it's the hip. If my hip is pointing toward the guy's center, my leg is going to go exactly where that hip is aiming. I only want you to focus on 2 basic kicks. I want you to have a good push kick to shove this guy away with your legs. That can be interpreted as a snap kick with your boots on. And a round kick that never gets above the waist level. You get that leg high enough for the guy to grab it, he will, and then you're in a ground fight with your equipment on, and he can get at your gun. We're only going to deal with ground fighting in the lethal force section of this system because that's a last resort. When you kick somebody, point the hip, develop the power out of the ground. Look at my back leg. I want to root that foot into the ground, aim the hip before that leg ever starts to move. Then as the leg is released, turning the pelvis once you're committed and getting the leg back to where you started. Something else I want you to concentrate on with kicks is do not let yourself do this. Because anybody who's got any training knows you eat the kick and then hit the guy while he's got his arm up in the air. When you practice kicks, keep your hands where you can see them. So when you throw that kick, he can't hit you back. Keep your hands where you can see them. If they're not obstructing your vision, they're not doing you any good. So a proper back round kick would be As you turn that kick in, be sure you hit with your shins. It'll take a little conditioning, but this leg is heavier than a baseball bat. And delivered correctly, it actually has more power than a baseball bat. When you come to the level of a fight or of a contact where you've got to kick somebody, you better make sure the kick counts. So practice these a lot. Keep your hands in front of your face. Throw the kick off the ground, aim the pelvis. So the kick lands with a lot of force. You don't want to have to kick him again. There's the round kick. The push kick is exactly the same thing, only I'm going to aim my hip straight through. So as he comes in, I'm in a position to push him away. Keep this posted leg bent. Don't stiffen up and try to do this. You've got to be like a dancer all the way through the move. So as the leg comes through, keep that leg bent so that you have balance all the way through the kick. Push him away, back up. Go to your weapon if you need to. But as he's coming in, push him away. Get your hips into it. So as he comes, you push him away. Then step back to your fighting stance. Keep your hands in front of your face.